we literally stacked like cardboard boxes and then put a mattress on top, and we like shared that bed for like a year. That was really tough for me, and that's when I realized not having money is a terrible feeling.
And he follows you, and then you DM him,
Yeah.
hey, do you want to, we'd love to send you product. And he's like, don't worry, I'd already bought one.
I kid you not, for the next 3 months, I didn't do anything except make it as perfect as possible. That did wonders because the brand, it did like 2.6 million.
There's a clear consistency and a trend between the people that are extremely dedicated and those that are successful in this space. Like, we were pretty much obsessed with making
every
this
day.
work. All right, so here we are with my good friend Steven Guo, aka Hungru.
Steven Guo.
Sorry.
You can never say his name right.
It's bad. But yeah, Steven's a good friend of mine. Just graduated college, 22 years old. Congrats.
Thank you.
And Steven has done around $10 million in revenue on his Shopify brands. So in this video, I kind of want to talk about his story and some advice that he has. So yeah, why don't we start off with your story? How did you get into e-commerce and finance and dropshipping in general?
So between the ages of 6 all the way to 12, I had a phase where my life was a complete mess. So my mom, she was a professor in China. And so we actually immigrated to Canada because she wanted me to have a better life. So she literally quit her job, like quit everything she was doing. We moved to a completely foreign country. We moved to Toronto. We found like this super bummy motel, dragging our luggage across the snow and everything. And then we kind of like had nothing again, had a little apartment. But once she quit, she couldn't become a professor again in Canada. So she had to work 2 jobs, one as a waitress at a coffee shop. And then second, she was a card factory worker. And basically, she would be working all day. We had a one bedroom apartment, and it was just the bedroom. It was a shared apartment with like another family. And we literally stacked like cardboard boxes and then put a mattress on top, and we like shared that bed for like a year. So that was really tough for me, and that's when I realized not having money is a terrible feeling. And then by the time I was like 11 years old, I was able to get a computer, like a PC computer. I was super into online businesses. I did like affiliate marketing. I had a little YouTube channel as well, and made some money doing that. I started looking into other things that I could do to make more scalable income. And so I went back on the internet to make money because that is by far the most scalable way to make money.
I agree.
And so at this point, I had heard about dropshipping and I heard about e-commerce, and it came pretty intuitively to me because like the basic concept of selling and buying something for cheaper and selling it for more expensive, that's been ingrained in me since a kid.
Correct.
So I started looking for products, and I got really lucky because this was before the whole fidget spinner craze. I watched a lot of YouTube videos, and there was this one YouTuber that was doing a video on a super weird product. So he was doing an unboxing video, right? He's like, check out this really interesting gadget. And it was called a EDC spinner. So it was everyday carry spinner. And it was a very small community of people who like really high end like fidget spinners basically.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wait a second, this is pretty cool. I think a lot of people would want to buy this.
Right.
And at that point, I didn't really know. I just based it off my gut feeling, like this is gonna work. So I found the plastic versions of this product on Alibaba, and I started selling it on eBay. And for some reason, people were buying like a lot of these fidget spinners. On Alibaba, I bought like 25 spinners for, I think it was like $50 or $60 or something.
Right.
Dirt cheap. And then I would sell it on eBay, and each one I would sell for $25.
Wow. So you would buy them in bulk quantities from Alibaba, send them to yourself,
Yeah.
and then from there individually ship out.
Yeah.
So instead of going the AliExpress route, you kind of sourced it yourself.
Right. AliExpress was like pretty new back then.
Yeah.
So I didn't do the whole dropshipping thing. But yeah, so I would sell them individually, like every day after school. I would come back, like do all my homework, and then pack all the fidget spinners. Kept building up, and I realized, okay, eBay is one way to make money, but I think I can make more money if I made my own website. So I actually made a big cartel website, and I started selling the fidget spinners on Big Cartel, and I upgraded. So I basically reinvested all my money into like more expensive fidget spinners, different varieties of fidget spinners. I was selling metal ones that were like, I was selling them for like $50.
Higher perceived value, right?
Very high perceived value, and this was like during the whole craze. Everybody was like super into it, and so I sold a lot of fidget spinners during that time. On Big Cartel, initially, how I try to market it, I would go on YouTube comment sections. It's just like paste the link in my store. Like I got like basically no sales, and then afterwards I'm like, okay, this clearly doesn't work. I went on Reddit actually. And then I started doing giveaways on Reddit in all these like everyday carry threads. And that actually got me like my first $10,000 in sales.
Wow.
In revenue, that was. And after that, I started sending my fidget spinners to influencers, like people who would unbox different cool gadgets on YouTube. I sent it to those people. And literally, I remember one of the first influencers that did a video. His name was Epic Snuggle Bunny. He does like knife reviews, and he posted a video of my fidget spinners. And I think the first day we got like 10,000 in revenue just from the first day.
Out of thin air.
Yeah, out of thin air. And I'm like, holy crap, that was like the past 3 months of me trying to hustle on Reddit.
Yeah.
I just did that in one day on YouTube, right? So I just kept replicating that. And then we like had a warehouse with ShipBob, which went pretty terrible, honestly, not gonna lie. But eventually like we did around like 100 to 150 in revenue. I don't know the exact number anymore. I think it was 100K in revenue.
Wow, that's unreal. I remember you told me that you sent like a thank you card and a package to Crazy Russian Hacker.
Yeah, Crazy Russian Hacker.
I haven't watched that guy. You showed me. I didn't believe you.
Yeah.
And I was like, right. And they were like, go to timestamp 250. But like, oh my God, that's actually stupid.
But yeah, so that was my first e-commerce business, and then went off to college. And that's where I met you. Actually, we met at Sigma Chi.
Yeah, we did.
So like when I was rushing, I was like trying to tell everybody about e-commerce because I'm like, yo, this is it right here.
Yeah.
And like nobody would listen. Nobody listened to me. Everyone thought I was like crazy. They're like, what is this dude on about? Like,
well, it just sounded too good to be true to everyone else.
Right, exactly. But I told Andy this, and he was like the only other person that would actually listen to me. He's like, oh, this sounds pretty cool. I'd love to get into it. At that point, I didn't have any business anymore. Everyone probably just thought I was crazy.
Yeah. No, that's the thing. The problem was that it just sounds so far-fetched that you can make money out of thin air just by sourcing it from China. Right?
Yeah.
And then, I mean, we just were in an era or a time in our lives where it was kind of, that wasn't the priority. The priority was to party, have fun.
Yeah.
So that was like everyone's envisionment at the time.
Right. We did that whole like party, have fun thing for a little bit, but then I got like super bored. I was like, damn, is this what my life's come to? Like I worked this hard to get into a good college, and now I'm just gonna like throw it all away.
Yeah.
So basically, I started another e-commerce business, and that just like immediately started popping off. So I started with just a carousel ad on Facebook. I literally just had pictures of the little figurine.
I remember you take those pictures in the studio.
Just a little picture. It was like a carousel with 5 pictures of it, just like different angles. And like I launched it on Facebook ads, $50, which for me was a lot of money at the time.
A lot of money.
Yeah, right, $50. But I was like, I have to take this risk. And so we like the first day I launched it, I literally made like a $100 profit.
Wow.
I'm like, what is this? Like, this is insane. I just kept scaling it more and more. Back then I was super scared about like scaling and like, all that stuff. So it took me, I was like,
You didn't have much money. So.
Right, I didn't have much money either. But yeah, I was like scaling it like $10 a day or something, right?
Mhm.
Like now, if I could look back, I would have just bumped the budget up like
Yeah.
way more. So, well, I guess I had the funds to do that, but yeah. And so you started getting into it at that point.
Yeah, I did. That was a time where I was just really caught in the party scene as well. But then I came to this realization, like, man, just like you said, do I really want to be doing this? Am I gonna go 4 years later and be like, oh yeah, I'm good at drinking. This is great. I'm good at drinking. This is, a great skill to have.
Yeah.
But it was almost like a FOMO thing to me, because I was like, I don't want to miss out.
Yeah.
And be like, damn, I wish I could have done this, or I wish I could have done it, and I never did it. But, it ended up working out. I don't even remember exactly how I started. I think there was like 2 or 3 guys that went in, right? It was like...
Yeah, so it was like you, Ian Boggs, and Madi. Remember Madi?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So basically, like, I was the only one that was making sales at that point.
Mhm.
I was like pretty secretive about the product I was selling, because obviously, like, product
For obvious reasons, yeah.
everything. But since you were like a really good friend of mine, you were selling like this car mount. I remember you were trying to sell a car mount. I'm like, bro,
In a wireless charger. That's my first sale.
yeah, car mount and wireless charger. I'm like, bro, everybody sells that, like how is that gonna tap into anyone's emotion?
Mhm.
And what happened, like the first?
Yeah, I think first product that I did was like a free plus shipping. That worked. I remember day one, you're like, just try it.
Yeah.
Right? And I tried it and I got a sale and I'm like, wait a second, this is kind of cool. Yeah. George from Wisconsin, whatever. I got that sale. And then 2 days later, you're like, yeah, continue to run it.
Yeah.
I didn't get any sales and I was going negative, underwater. And I was like, okay, now I need to focus on something that, like you said, strikes emotion, that has a very passionate audience. And then that audience just so happened to be extremely passionate audience. Yeah, it was like day one. I already immediately got sales. And, I think the reason why that product did so well is because of the fact that it was within a crazy passionate audience. Maybe not a very obvious passionate audience, but a group of people that have a serious interest and, are really in tune with that community.
Yeah, exactly.
But it was also something that you would never see anywhere as well.
Very unique product.
So I think that's kind of what helped differentiate. But yeah, from that point on, I got super hooked. And, just alone that Shopify ring became an addictive sound that I needed in every single day of my life. And same with him.
We were so hyped. Like, this was, we had such highs. Like, I think at this point, when I hear Shopify ding, it doesn't affect me.
No.
But when we were getting those initial sales, like it's the best feeling. I actually have a recording of when you made like your first $1,000.
I remember that
in sales.
That was
we
really
can put that in this podcast.
That was crazy.
No, bro. And he's about to hit 1K. Look at this. Boom, 130, 1K. He's $3 away. Did you expect that? We were like, oh.
No, I had no clue that was even gonna happen.
We were like, oh, he's gonna hit 800, and then boom, all of a sudden he's 993. So
that's crazy.
Dude, that's hype.
Oh.
If nobody buys at like 11.59, I'm gonna buy some shit from your store just to make you that 1K.
I gotta hit 1K.
Hey, how's it feel, bro?
It feels amazing. I went from, what was it? I think 300 something yesterday to almost 1,000. It's just like unbelievable off of one brand new product that I started testing.
So, do you think it's a winner?
Oh, I mean, I don't know.
The hype that you had was crazy. Like it was insane because it was like life changing. It literally changed our lives.
It was life changing.
And we got really lucky because we were able to succeed pretty early on. Like he only had one product that didn't work before finding like something that did work. You ended up doing like $500,000 on that?
No, not that one. I did 200, 150, 200, okay. But still very high profit margin because the Facebook ads were just like ridiculous.
They were cooking.
Remember when I first launched that one product and we were in the car and my phone just would not stop ringing? They were tripping out.
And like I remember when I was talking to you about this before we started doing dropshipping. Me and Andy were still hustling. Like we were doing videography work because like our goal was to travel the world. Yeah. We really wanted to go to Bali and like just like go around Asia and stuff and like just travel. That's I think a lot of people's dream is just to travel and have the freedom to do so. And I was telling Andy like, hey, if we keep doing this videography stuff and keep hustling, like one day they'll take us along with them to go film them living their fun lives.
We're gonna be the videographers.
Yeah, literally.
Behind the camera.
Yeah, we ended up like basically getting scammed by like the people we were working
That
with.
was so bad.
Like they didn't even pay us. That was a foul, but
Yeah.
that was basically what led to the dropshipping. And then once we got to the point where we made like, you know, our first $10,000 or $15,000 in profit, we sent it to Bali actually.
That was unreal. I think we were at UCLA at the time.
Yeah, we were at UCLA. I had Justin Bieber buy my product as well.
That was crazy. I could put a film of that too. All right, Steven, what happened?
Well, today Justin slid into my DM.
What?
You know, so we got a few things going on. You know, like just ordered my product.
That was unreal. I couldn't believe it. I remember that was the time my brand was really like going crazy. I was in $10,000 days, and then you're right next to me on the bed, and you look at your phone, you're like, what the hell? Did Justin Bieber just follow me? Like, and then because you had all those Justin Bieber fan accounts,
Yeah, bro.
and then you look into your DMs, you look and he follows you, and then you DM him and hey, do you want to? We'd love to send you product. He's like, don't worry, I'd already bought one.
Yeah, I was like, what is going on right now? Like, he replied too. Like, this is the most insane. It's from a freaking dropshipping business, basically, right? But yeah, so he basically, like, he bought the product because he saw a Facebook ad on it, which is, like, just ridiculous. That's not the only celebrity that's bought, like, my products, and I'm sure you've had celebrities.
Yeah, I have, but you've had Chief Keef, right?
Chief Keef, Andy Ruiz.
Oh my.
Logan Paul, like the most random celebrities buying stuff for me, and like I don't know how I end up seeing the orders because like it's so. I'm sure I probably miss a lot more celebrities.
Yeah, for sure.
But for the Justin Bieber one, like he didn't buy it under his personal name on the Shopify orders.
Yeah.
So I actually had to like really like dig deep to figure out like what the company was, and it was a security company that purchased the product for him, and I actually decided to hand deliver the product to him. I remember that. Literally got this super nice box, got my friend Ricky, shout out to Ricky, designed like this super cool t-shirt that had like my brand cross collab with Drew Crew and stuff. Yeah. We put it in a nice box. I drove to the address of the post office to try to drop it off. And, like, they wouldn't even accept it. They're like, sorry, it doesn't work that way. Like, you got to ship it. So, like, basically, I went to that post office. They boxed it up, and then they shipped it to themselves, which is, like, it makes no sense. But, yeah. After that, basically, ran that brand up to, like, almost $1 million. It was $800K in revenue. That's when I made my first, like, 150, 200K in profit. And the shittiest thing happened. Basically what happened was my Instagram account got completely compromised. The one with Justin Bieber following it got compromised, and it started messaging every one of my followers the freaking crypto scam thing. Yeah. And then within like 2 days, the account got banned. And so like, and not only that account, like all of my accounts got banned. Like the Facebook, Instagram, like I was like, dude, this was such an L. And also I had like money on hold with PayPal, a bunch of credit card debt. So I was down super bad. I also had some accounting errors because like super inexperienced at that time with accounting. I was very short on money. I had to pay out like pay my money back and stuff. And so at that point I was definitely very lost. I kind of felt like a failure. I was like really scared that I couldn't do it again. I've gone this far, like everyone thinks I'm so successful. I'm just sitting here like, god damn, I have like 50K in credit card debt. Like what am I supposed to do? And like PayPal had like literally like 100 something K like held up.
Yeah.
And on top of that, I just bought like another like 100K in inventory. This is crazy.
How long did they hold it for? Because they held mine for like 3 months.
Dude, it was a long time. They would release like a little bit time slowly, but it was just like the one of the toughest times. I never had thought about quitting entrepreneurship, but that was like one time I was like, is this for me? Like never had I had a thought like that before until I was like deep in the hole. This is tough. Like I basically lost everything within a matter of like a week.
Yeah.
And like I had to try to build everything back up. But thankfully, I found another product. Like, I think one common theme is like when I'm down really bad, that's like the starting basis of something even better.
Right.
So I found another product, and I don't know if I'm gonna reveal it yet, but I'll say it
Later for your channel.
Yeah, it's the
Okay.
yeah. So it's kind of full circle
Yeah.
from
Yeah.
fidget spinners all the way to the. Nobody was selling it at that time. It was like a few Etsy sellers, but it was a super unique product. I knew it was like high novelty and it solved like a huge problem as well. So I started running that up. First day, $500 in revenue on $50.
Ridiculous.
It took me like
Oh my.
it took me like a month to find that product though.
Yeah.
But thank God I did, because if I didn't, like, I think it would have been pretty tough.
Yeah.
I was in a sticky situation with the other business, and I wasn't able to like do anything at that point.
Right. Well, the thing is, like, when you got in big trouble, you found a way out, but that was only because you were so dedicated to finding a way out. And
Every day, I swear to God, like, it was like I had a fire under my ass, so I had to work like 2 times harder than I've ever worked, and so every day, wake up, product research, all the way to like 12 a.m. and then just like repeat every single day until I found it.
Yeah.
Like it was not just like, oh, I just found it.
Well, that's the thing. Like, I got screwed too. Remember when I got screwed in the summer? We're at UCLA. I was probably like $600-700 a day.
Yeah.
And then I got that cease and desist. I went from that to nothing to Shopify shutting me down. And I remember, dude, I was scared. But then I was like, okay, I need to really focus. I went to the UCLA library. Product. And then I finally hit that win.
Yeah.
And
That's a crazy winner, bro.
that was
and it's like, it's still like cooking today. Like, how many years? That's like 3 years, huh?
yeah, but
On a dropshipping product.
yeah.
Well, nobody would think it's a dropshipping product, which is what makes it so good.
Yeah, that was ridiculous. But I mean, clear correlation between my story and your story, right? Like, when you have these really hard times, they really shape you, because if I was still selling that product that I was selling in the beginning, I wouldn't be where I'm at right now.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? So you kind of need those defining moments and that time of uncertainty and scarcity to be like, okay, this is where I need to push to finally get to where I want.
It's really easy to get comfortable once you start making money consistently on Shopify or whatever business it is. It's really easy to be like, okay, I'm gonna sit back and just like, relax now.
Yeah.
But like, that's when you should really double down and keep doing what's working and do it even better and at a higher scale. So yeah, that's what I learned with this product, the one that I found. I saw how crazy it was, and I kid you not, for the next 3 months, I didn't do anything except try to run this product up and like make it as perfect as possible. And that did wonders, because the brand, it did like 2.6 million and in a matter of
that ad you showed me, wow, that's just
ridiculous. $2.6 million under just a little bit over a year. And I actually, the crazy thing is, it started as a dropshipping product, but most people with dropshipping products, they can't hit, like, unless it's either a high ticket product or a very very, very viral product. It's very hard to hit over $1 million.
Yeah, I agree.
The reason I was able to do it is because I did what's called branded dropshipping. So initially, I just sold, a shitty AliExpress product. And as soon as I knew that this was going to be a big hit, I invested basically all my money into custom packaging, fast shipping, and good customer service. Normally people, they just like, they skip out on that, right? Especially when you're a beginner, you're just like, oh, I'm making money, who cares? Like, but that's like the mistake I've made in the past with other stores. And so given that prior experience, I knew that with this product, like, I had to do everything right. So I got the custom packaging. I was still shipping from China, but I was able to get 7 to 12 day shipping to the US with custom packaging. And inside the packaging, we had custom thank you cards that were like, it was like a handwritten like thank you card. It wasn't actually handwritten. It was just like
Looks like it is.
Yeah, looks like it is. And that was able to get our returning customer rate up a lot higher, and that really helped in keeping us profitable when all the other people try to come in.
Yeah.
Right, they weren't profitable because they didn't have customers coming back to like
Right.
compound the profits, but I did.
Yeah.
And so on top of that, another thing that I did really well with that store was I systemized everything. So customer service, I went on onlinejobs.ph, found somebody to take care of all of that. The shipping completely handled by my 3PL in China. I found this agent through a friend of mine. And so like that's really important. Having a really good connection to an agent. You can find agents just through like Facebook groups. Like Facebook groups are really good for agents. What are some other ways?
So I mean, the way that I found my agent that I used for a long time was simply just going onto AliExpress, hitting supplier, and copy pasting and getting in contact eventually onto WhatsApp or WeChat.
Mm-hmm.
But let's go back to the branded dropshipping thing. Branded dropshipping in general, it's a very long process, and at times it's you almost just don't want to do it because of the fact that you could easily just increase your budget and start to scale from there. Why do you think it's so important that people are patient and go through that branded dropshipping process?
Yeah. Branded dropshipping, I do have to say, not every single product should be branded dropshipping. You have to look at the context of your product. Because if your product is a one-time sale kind of product, right, and you can't really upsell them on anything else, then don't do it. Just run up your bag and call it at that.
Mm-hmm.
But if your product is, say, something in, for example, apparel or fashion, if you sell one t-shirt, it's likely you're going to be able to sell another t-shirt or a hoodie or, a hat or something, right? So you have to really look at the category of the product you're selling. In my case, it worked well because mine was in fashion.
Mm-hmm.
So I was able to cross-sell a lot of other products. Right. So that's why branded dropshipping really made sense for me. Mm-hmm. In your instance as well, it makes a lot of sense because your buyer is not just passionate about like that one product. Your buyer is passionate about like that entire niche of things, right? So the process is extremely important for those kind of businesses where you're selling to a passionate demographic that's likely to purchase again.
Yeah.
If you're selling something that's just like a very impulse purchase type of product, then it's going to be a lot harder.
So you'd suggest people to just run up their bag if they're selling like a back cracker, like absolutely. Resistance bands and whatnot.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So, but also let's talk about kind of the caveats to that. Why you would not want to run up your bag to get into certain, legal issues or maybe payment processors. Why wouldn't you also want to scale too much?
Right. So it depends on the product you're selling. So for example, with the first business I did, Relics, that was pretty sketchy because anime is trademarked and miniature sneakers, that's also trademarked. So for me to sell those products together is like a double whammy. So I had a choice of like continue selling this and like get into legal trouble or not sell it at all. I decided, okay, it's not worth, pursuing that. So I didn't scale it as high. So yeah.
Yeah, because also if you scale it too high, you're going to get to the point where these hired out agencies will start to see your ads. And then from there, those are the guys that are going to come after you. Like what happened to me. You said that certain companies, for example, like Nike or Adidas, they'll hire out agencies that are specifically looking at ads. So if you're spending too much money, then you're going to be seen and then you're kind of going to get.
Yeah, they're going to shut you down. Probably send you a DMCA, right? So try to stay away from copyrighted products. There are plenty of niches where there's no copyright and the people are still very passionate.
Yeah. So what would you say is the biggest, most common mistake you see beginners that are entering this space? What's consistent?
So it's kind of a double-edged sword. I see a lot of beginners, they quit too early or don't know when to quit. Right? So what I mean is they'll test a product and they'll spend like $500 on it and get like 2 sales unprofitably, lose like $400, right? But they'll keep running that product because like, oh, I got 2 sales. I might be able to make You probably can't make it work. It's a different story if you were trying different pricing and like you were trying different ads and spent $500. But a lot of beginners, they just think, okay, my existing ads are good, my offer is good. Let me just run this for as long as I can, and eventually it'll break through.
Yeah.
That's not how Facebook works. That's not how dropshipping works. That's not how e-commerce works in general.
Yeah.
So don't do that. And the other side of it is like beginners, they quit way too early. They spend like $25 and they're like, you know what? I didn't get any sales. Like, it's time to quit. Like, typically it'll take between like $50 to $100 on a under $50 product to start seeing results.
Oh, interesting. Yeah.
That's from my personal experience, at least. So, stay in there, but don't stay in there too long.
Yeah.
To cut your losses.
But, the thing is, in this day and age, people want to see fast results.
Yeah.
Right. So people are like, oh, I want a side hustle. This isn't really a side hustle. If you're going to take this as a side hustle, you're going to get side hustle results.
Yeah.
Right. You're not going to get real results.
Yeah.
So there's a clear consistency and a trend between the people that are extremely dedicated and those that are successful in this space. Like, we were pretty much like obsessed.
Yeah.
With making
Every
this
day.
work.
Every single
class.
Yeah.
We'd be in our lectures with 400 students. We'd be on our computers like, we're trying to make this work. But yeah, it's kind of funny. That's what it is nowadays. People just have this very low attention span. They're like, I'm gonna take this half-ass, and then it doesn't end up working for them. But what I want to talk about now, since we're talking about Facebook, is what do you think are the best ways to go about marketing? Is there like organic marketing, Facebook ads, TikTok ads? What do you think is right now the best, or some of the best?
So I think the landscape of e-commerce has changed from like back in 2017 when you could basically launch anything on Facebook and it would hit to now. Now Facebook is definitely a lot more difficult. TikTok ads is actually a lot easier to sell low ticket items on. So when you're testing on app platforms, I would say test on TikTok first and then move it over to Facebook. I do see that changing soon, and TikTok is actually probably going to get a lot harder to sell on as well.
Right.
But yeah, so on app platforms, TikTok ads, it's the same methodology, same fundamentals as Facebook ads. You test different creatives, right? Every product you test, you should try to test at least like 3 to 5 creatives at least, and try different marketing angles as well as different offers, because it's very important. Sometimes you do have a winning product, you're just not selling the product at the right price. Right. So you want to sell the product at the right price, and that takes a lot of tinkering with to get correct.
I'm very curious, and probably a lot of people that are watching curious, do you think it's realistic to start drop shipping with minimal amounts of money, say less than $100 or even $0?
So I think you have to get really lucky, because it's a learning curve finding what product works and what product doesn't work. You were lucky because I kind of like pass that learning curve onto you. Yeah. Right. So like mentorship is actually very useful in that instance, because now you've gotten like the past 5 years of experience, literally within like with
crazy.
A week or so. But yeah, with like $100, I think you have to get really lucky as a beginner, a complete beginner, to do it. I got really lucky. Not many people get lucky. I think a more realistic budget to actually succeed with a dropshipping store is going to be anywhere between like $1,000 to $3,000. Right. So you should definitely have like another income source, whether it be a job or some sort of side hustle that's less risk, because dropshipping is higher risk, I would say.
I think that it's interesting because, if we were to go in with $0 and go the organic marketing side, I think we'd be able to do well. I know we'd be able to do well, as opposed to someone that has zero knowledge of the model. Yeah, you're factoring in their mistakes, because it's so easy to make mistakes. There's so many things to account for. Yeah. That if you make one little mistake in one little area, you're going to lose a lot of money. Yeah. So if you do go the organic marketing, I personally think that you could find a really cool product and put out some UGC
Yeah.
and do well?
I absolutely think for people with low budgets, don't even get into paid advertising until you've succeeded with organic marketing.
Exactly.
Because paid advertising, they call it media buying. And if you think about that term, media buying, you're literally buying space for a video creative, right? And what is a video creative? That's the video that you post on your organic TikTok page.
Yeah.
Right? It's no different. So if you can't even succeed with an organic video, like trying to run an ad on a failing creative is gonna be very difficult.
Yeah. And the cool thing is, if you do say get an organically viral video, then you can just repurpose that for your paid ad.
Yeah,
You
exactly.
gotta have that winning ad creative from the get-go. What would you say to all these people that are growing up in an era or studying in an era with these very intuitive tools like OpenAI's ChatGPT?
Right. That's leverage. So with the advent of ChatGPT, that's literally changed the game for basically any business owner. Now you basically have a personal assistant on your side with you all the time, except for the times when ChatGPT is down and you can't use it.
Yeah.
But what I've done is typically with the overseas labor force, so people that you find in the Philippines as virtual assistants, typically their communication skills weren't as good, but now your job should be to train them to use AI and ChatGPT to help them speed up their workflow and their processes. So now you get someone who's being paid, a overseas wage, but they're able to produce outcomes that are equivalent, if not better, than an American worker.
Right. So maybe let's talk about the difference between someone that's overseas versus in the U.S. Do you think the quality is still there, but maybe just the communication is off?
Yeah, actually, the English of most people in the Philippines is very good. India, they have quite a few people with good English. I think sometimes it's a little bit harder in India. So I prefer to stay in the Philippines if I'm hiring overseas workers. That's not a huge issue. A big issue is a lot of times the people overseas they didn't have the opportunities and privilege to learn highly honed in skills.
Yeah.
So your job as a business owner is to really give them those opportunities to try different things and learn skills. Because one thing I really love about people who work overseas is they're very, very hardworking. Like people in the Philippines, respect to my team. I have like a lot of people that work overseas. They are some of the hardest workers that I've ever had. And like, yeah, you definitely need to give them those opportunities and pay them well. And yeah, just treat them well. American workers typically are very highly skilled, but you need to work extra hard to incentivize them to work with you because the opportunity is a lot higher for them. They can easily do other things.
Yeah.
So either incentivize them with, extra pay, or incentivize them with a mission or something that they'll believe in. Otherwise, they might even want like revenue split or profit split of some sort. So that's a big difference.
Right. And so, not to mention, they're going to be 4 to 5 times the cost.
Yeah, a lot expensive.
And so, which areas do you think you can outsource within your business?
Right. Basically every part. It's literally okay. I can talk about the steps, like which parts of your business you should outsource first. So number one, the very first thing you should outsource right away is your customer service. The next thing you should try to outsource, it depends on the business.
Yeah.
What are we talking about?
Dropshipping, yeah.
So for dropshipping, number one, outsource your VA for anything related to customer service.
Cool.
After that, try to find somebody who can help you do all of your video creatives, because with dropshipping, it's very heavy on having new and constant creatives and different marketing angles. For someone like that, it's going to be really difficult, but I think it's very important that you have a constant flow of good quality ads coming in. Next thing could be Facebook ads. Well, Facebook ads, TikTok ads, Google ads. You can either outsource agencies for that type of stuff. They're typically more expensive. Or if you have your own skills to run ads, you can train a virtual assistant who's like a smart virtual assistant to do all those things. And you just have to give them the trust to do so.
Interesting.
But yeah, like it's really on per need basis. Every business is different. But you definitely want to outsource the things that take up the most amount of manual time that have the lowest amount of ROI first. So for example, customer service is one of those things where it takes up a lot of time and it doesn't necessarily generate a huge amount of income.
Yeah.
But also at the same time, it's one of the most important aspects of a business. So you don't want to neglect it. So that's why I would say customer service, always outsource that right away. The next thing, definitely outsource your accounting. You can either work with a firm if you have a little bit more capital to work with, or you can find a freelance CPA on Upwork and they'll take care of your books, because that's extremely important. Knowing your exact profit margin.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Also on a day-to-day basis, you want to know what your cash flow is looking like and your general profit. And I would recommend using Triple Whale or True Profit as dashboards to really get a pulse on how much money you're making. In terms of attribution, getting those fancy attribution softwares is not necessarily super important right at the beginning, but as you're scaling, it's important.
Yeah.
So at the beginning, you can tell, if you get a sale, you can tell where it's coming from. But after like you're doing, say, even at $1,000 a day, it's going to be very difficult to know where you're getting all those sales from.
Yeah, so I mean, Black Friday, that you need a software like that, or else you really don't know how much you're making, and you could potentially lose thousands to tens of thousands of dollars depending on how much money you're spending. So to trace back to ChatGPT, because this is a very interesting topic, what do you think the future of dropshipping is with this implementation of OpenAI's ChatGPT?
So I was talking about customer service and how we should outsource that first.
Yeah.
I don't know who's going to build this app, but I think there's going to be an app that uses OpenAI's technology to replace customer service for a lot of these low-level tasks, such as, canceling an order or, sending a replacement, things like that. I think it'll all be done by AI. I'm actually talking to a developer right now who's building something similar to that. So that's going to be very interesting. The next things is now these live chatbots could also act as sales agents using ChatGPT, and they can read the context of your store.
Yeah.
And they'll be able to tell customers, hey, I recommend this product based off of your personal requirements. So that's going to help conversion rates a ton. Obviously the basics like writing product descriptions, that's already being done.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's going to make a lot of those human interaction tasks a lot easier for business owners, and I think it's just going to make everything a lot smoother.
Yeah. So do you think with this whole implementation of AI and whatnot, it has decreased the barrier to entry? Because now it's become more and more easy. How would you be able to differentiate from, I guess, the average quote unquote dropshipper?
Well, first of all, like this AI stuff is still pretty new and not everyone's using it. So if you are using AI, you just automatically get a huge competitive advantage over everyone else. So definitely be the first. Get really nitty gritty with it and learn prompt engineering, because that's going to be the future of interfacing with technology. It's going to be learning how to build prompts to feed the AI so it can generate the correct outputs for you. So really learn how to interact with AI, and that will give you a huge competitive advantage. Definitely look into every technology possible related to AI. For example, with video editing, we're using Descript, which is AI powered, and it basically speeds up the editing workflow about like 2 or 3 times, if not more. It's ridiculous. And so like the AI is going to be implemented into basically every facet of your life, business and personal. So definitely take advantage of it and try to really understand how AI works, how it spits out information, and how you can get it to spit out the right information.
Do you think it's just by chance that you're successful, or do you think it's your work ethic? What would you say separates you from the people that aren't successful in the space?
Yeah, I think I definitely got really lucky, and I think all successful people will say that they got lucky, but there's something a little bit deeper. And when you look at a lot of people who have had success, they've probably failed more times than they have succeeded. And so that was definitely the case for me. I think between the ages of 12 all the way to 22, I've built and failed like at least 30 businesses, at least 30, right? So for me, when I had tough times, when things weren't going well for me, I always thought, okay, I'm putting in the work. If I just keep doing this, I'll get lucky one day, right? So it's like you're working to the point where something good does happen, right? And it will eventually. So if you're not successful right now, but you're putting in consistent effort to make something happen, the world will come bless you one of these days, and you'll get lucky. But it really isn't luck, because you were putting in the consistent work, and you're always there and ready to show up and succeed.
And it's not, yeah, it is luck, but it's also not luck, because you're putting yourself into these situations to be quote unquote lucky.
Right.
So, you know, whether it's luck, whether it's the consistency. And it's funny because you never really see someone that is so ridiculously consistent with something that doesn't get what they want to get. It never happens, right? Maybe there are a few cases of some people that I do know, but for the most part, those people that constantly stick, they try their best at everything, and they're consistent day by day, they usually get to where they want to be.
Yeah, it might not, the thing is, luck is a huge factor in success, and nobody can deny that. But the fact is, if you stick to something long enough, you will have a little bout of luck, and you can capitalize on that luck to compound it and help you become even more successful. So that means, hey, you might be testing 10 dropshipping products, and you learn each time how to find a better product every single time. And eventually you're going to find something that does make you your first 10K in profit. And you're going to use that 10K in profit and leverage it and make more money from it, hopefully, in theory, right? And you might have times where you get unlucky. I've had times where I lost money, right? But the skills that you learn will stick with you forever, and that's something that will never be taken away from you. And the skills that you learn, the experience that you have, that will help you get lucky a lot more frequently, and that's ultimately what leads to success, in my opinion, at least.
Next question I want to ask is that do you think dropshipping is a viable business model for 2023?
I think absolutely. And there's one caveat. Dropshipping is not a long-term sustainable model, but if you're trying to get started in digital marketing and want to learn those hard skills on how to sell a product, it's perfect for that. It's perfect for getting you your first little bit of money, that as well. But you can't ever build a long-term sustainable business from dropshipping, and that will always be the case. So for me, what I personally do is when I'm trying to validate a product, when I'm trying to launch something new, I will always launch it in a dropshipping model just to prove that there's demand for the product, right? Once I've proven that there's demand, then I'll go all in on branding it and building a really good customer experience around it, because that's what ultimately leads to long-term sustainable businesses.
Right. So you think that it's good to use dropshipping as a platform to build out a real brand. So to test with a dropshipping model, because that low barrier to entry, but then once you're ready to reinvest your profits into building this legitimate brand that's going to be evergreen and, you know, hopefully attain longevity.
Correct. Yeah, you don't want to go all in branding a product and then realize nobody wants it, right?
That's what you see a lot of times. People are like, oh, I'm going to go all in. I'm going to, you know, get custom packaging, fast shipping time on a product that I can't even sell.
Right. It's very, very, like, some people get lucky and they hit it on the first try, but it's very, very difficult. So yeah, that's what I would recommend.
Cool. So you said you have a bit of experience with clothing and fashion. So why don't you touch on that?
Personally, I'm not a huge fashionista or anything. Is it a fashionista? Or?
I don't know.
I'm not.
Whatever you want it to.
Not big into fashion. I always knew that fashion was a very, very lucrative category to be in. The reason for that is because when people buy clothes, it's a highly emotional thing, right? Especially for girls and guys as well. Guys buy clothes to look good, to get girls, right? Girls get nice clothes and look good for likely the same thing, right? To look good. And so it's something very personal to them. And the great thing about fashion is things go out of fashion, which means you have to constantly buying new clothes, right? You have to be constantly buying new clothes all the time, new jewelry, things along those lines. And so I kind of realized this was an extremely lucrative niche if you can tap into the right audience. So I actually ended up partnering with one of my business partners, and now we run a 7-figure clothing brand. We have 2 warehouses, one in Utah and one in LA. And it's purely organic. And the reason we've been able to get it to the 7-figure mark is strictly because of the systems that we built. We outsourced our fulfillment. Before, my business partner, she was literally fulfilling everything at her house. She was doing customer service by herself.
I remember you told me.
Yeah, she was doing like everything on her own.
Yeah.
And so she was like getting very burnt out. And thank God, like we met at the right time. So I hooked her up with like basically all the connections I had, set up all the systems for her, and now like she just travels the world for fun now, which is pretty cool. And so like, yeah, we built all the systems to make sure the business is on autopilot. We have like, I think 8 employees for that business now.
Wow. Congrats.
Yeah, thank you. And so yeah, that was the clothing brand.
And then so with this brand, how long do you plan to stick with this brand? I know you have a share ownership in it. So what's your future with this brand?
Yeah, so I'm gonna keep scaling it. Like it's insane money printer. So I'm just keep growing the brand as big as possible. We're actually number 1 in our category right now, which is and I foresee us being number 1 for a very long time, just because we have compounded so much of our resources into building systems, into building relationships with influencers, that any other competitor is like so far behind.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to get too cocky, but yeah, like I think we'll do good with that. And maybe eventually we'll exit that business for a very nice amount of money.
Right.
But yeah, it's a great lifestyle business. It's great cash flow, great profit. I would love to build more businesses, help other people who are also starting their clothing brands. Like they might be struggling with fulfillment or struggling with like getting to the next level. I think for me, I find a lot of satisfaction in helping ease the burden of like all that work and helping them take all those hats and turning them into solid systems for them.
You need to have those systems in place, and sometimes people have that idea, right? But they don't have the systems, they don't have the experience in marketing. So that's where you came in and really helped her. Like you said, she was doing $15,000 a month, and she'd really realistically never be doing however $1 million that she's done if it wasn't for you coming in, stepping in, and really helping her.
Yeah, it's like a huge problem that small business owners run into is they burn out because they're so stuck into working in their business that they can never lift their head out to actually see like what's important and how to transfer from working in your business to working on your business. That's a huge difference.
So with this brand, it's so successful, but why do you think it is so successful? What do you think separates it? I know you're talking about the fact that it's in the fashion category, but other than that, why do you think this one in particular has been so consistent and so successful?
Our customer service, phenomenal. Our customer experience, phenomenal. We have beautiful packaging, super fast shipping. That's amazing. And C, the product serves our audience, and they're extremely passionate about this industry and about this category, and they're like our audience spends like every waking minute thinking about their niche basically. So they're extremely passionate, and on top of that, because we have all our systems, we just blow all our competitors out of the water because all of our other competitors were like my business partner.
Yeah.
Or we partnered up, right?
Yeah, that makes sense. As a result of that, what would you say is the average LTV per customer, lifetime value per
Yeah.
customer?
So our 12-month lifetime value is around $150.
Wow.
And so over like the course of years, we've had customers who have literally ordered around like $20,000 in orders. It's like ridiculous. Like I have no idea how people spend that much money on fashion.
But that's the thing, you know, with that douchebag brand.
Yeah.
Dude, I spent so much money because I'm so passionate. I don't even look at the price.
Right.
A lot of those people, they don't look at the price. If they have a passion, they have a true involvement in that community.
You love how it makes you feel, right?
Exactly. Dude, I look at that thing every day. I'm like, that's a beautiful suitcase.
Exactly. So building a beautiful product
Yeah.
really goes a long ways for retaining your customers and building a long-term brand.
Now I want to kind of talk about and transition more into what your future plans are with e-commerce.
Yeah.
Finance, anything in general within the space.
So I just sold that e-commerce brand.
Right.
That was pretty sick because like I honestly didn't think I would sell a company at 22. Like,
That's pretty amazing.
and it's a legit company too. Like it has employees, it has systems.
Wow.
Like that's why it was a lot easier to sell the business because it wasn't just a dropshipping store. Anybody can replicate a dropshipping store,
Right.
but what I built is systems, right? And that's what people buy. When people buy a business, they're not just buying a product. They're buying the systems behind whatever the business is.
Mm-hmm.
So I just sold that. I still have a few brands I'm running, but those are all like relatively on autopilot. Yeah. My plan is to exit one or two of those within the next 5 years. Hopefully for a 7-figure sum. Let's hopefully fingers crossed.
Yeah.
And then now I'm also working on a e-commerce competitor analytics software.
That's exciting.
It's gonna be some sauce for you guys.
Yeah, that's gonna be crazy.
Yeah, you got to see it a little bit.
Yeah, I can't wait to hopefully share it sometime soon.
Yes.
With everyone.
But yeah, I think for me now, I've definitely learned a lot of very valuable skills from e-commerce. And that's one thing I want you guys to know. Like, e-commerce is one of the greatest learning grounds to get into harder business models. So if you were to, for example, get into software right away, you're going to have to learn everything from the ground up.
Right.
And it's very difficult to sell software, to build software as well. With dropshipping, you basically get a lot of that handled for you, like building the product, manufacturing, shipping, logistics. Like most of that is handled for you, so you don't have to worry about too much of that. So all you need to do with dropshipping is just learn how to sell stuff, right? And that's like one of the most valuable skills, learning how to sell.
Mm-hmm.
So now that I've learned those skills, I'm getting back into software. Throwback to when I was doing my video game making phase and failed miserably. Now I think I'm a lot more confident in being able to succeed with software.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm building that software company, and I think software is a lot more scalable. Mm-hmm. So that's my next like 5-year play. Also, I this year I'm making a goal to make more content, especially on YouTube. I think going through this journey is very lonely, and like I think there's not enough people who really share their detailed experiences. Mm-hmm. And so I kind of want to share my personal experiences. And also I'm still learning every day. Mm-hmm. And I'm absolutely sure I'm going to have a lot of failures. And I want to document that and share that with you guys, because it's really important to know that failing is just a stepping stone to success. A lot of people view failure as like, oh, this is the end all be all. Right. But the skills that you learn, the humility you learn from failing, right, you will keep that with you forever.
I agree. You totally need failure to get to where you want to be. But so Steven is finally going to do YouTube. finally. So he's working on his channel, but he's putting a lot of work into it and a lot of time into it. So I'm going to be leaving his link in the description for you guys to go follow. He's going to be doing, what do you, maybe preface a bit of what you're going to be doing on your channel?
I love everything entrepreneurship related. So I'm going to start a lot of random online businesses for you guys as like challenges. I'm going to talk about like my personal experiences with all the small businesses that I've started. Like in this interview, I only covered like probably 1/10 of the stuff that I did. So I want
Be on here forever.
Yeah, I want to talk about like a lot of the specific things, how to build systems, how to really like stay consistent in entrepreneurship, and just everything around entrepreneurship. This is my life. This is what I love to do.
Right.
So,
Amazing.
I want to share with everybody.
Cool. Yeah, I think that was a pretty insightful video, and you guys finally got to meet Stephen Guo, the legendary Stephen Guo.
Don't sorry,
Guo. But yeah, no, we'll probably be doing a few more videos together, some collabs. Like I said, I'm going to link Stephen's channel in the description. He's going to start posting some stuff hopefully soon. Appreciate everyone that was watching. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.
All right.